What if everything you believed about thinking was incomplete? What if I told you you actually have 4 brains, not just the one inside your skull? For centuries, we've placed the brain on a pedestal, the grandmaster of logic, memory, and decision-making. We were taught to use our head for everything important, but new science is dismantling that myth. You can make better decisions with other 3 brains.
You are, in fact, a symphony of multiple intelligences. 5 distinct neural hubs working together. We are excluding the pelvic brain, and our discussion will be around the other 4 brains. And unlocking their full potential could be the most important breakthrough of your life. Let's start with the one you already know, the head brain. It's your cognitive engine. It processes language, solves problems, calculates outcomes. It's brilliant, but it doesn't work alone. Then there's your heart brain. Yes, your heart has its own neural network made up of over 40,000 sensory neurons. This brain in the chest feels, remembers, and even communicates with your head. Next is the gut brain, your second brain, technically known as the enteric nervous system. With more than 500 million neurons, it regulates digestion, yes, but also anxiety, instinct, and mood. And now, meet the least discussed, but perhaps the most fundamental, the brain in your spine. Your spinal cord is not just a highway for signals, it's a decision-making system of its own. Neuroscientists now refer to it as a distributed processing center, capable of reflexive responses, pattern recognition, and even basic memory independent of the brain.
So why does all these information matter to you? Because every decision you make, every leap of faith, every time you hold back, every moment of clarity or confusion is shaped by which of these brains you're listening to. Your life, right now, is a reflection of the choices you've made. And those choices were made with the intelligence you had access to. But in this documentary, you will know better. You can choose differently. You can learn to align the intelligence of your head, heart, gut, and spine. To make decisions that are not just smart, but wise, embodied, and whole. This isn't a fantasy. It's neuroscience, embodiment theory, and practical awakening. And it may just change the course of your life. You are, in fact, a symphony of multiple intelligences, 5 distinct neural hubs working together. In The Devil's Dictionary, published in 1911, satirist Ambrose Bierce wrote, "The brain is an apparatus with which we think we think." A century later, that line reads less like sarcasm and more like prophecy. Modern neuroscience is now validating what ancient wisdom already knew. You are a multi-system intelligence, a network of brains, not just one. In fact, as far back as 350 BCE, Aristotle wrote, "The brain is not solely in the head. The brain is in the heart," and more. Today, science affirms what philosophers intuited. The heart, the gut, and even the spinal cord each house complex networks of neurons. These neural centers can sense, decide, and remember, often faster than our conscious mind can catch up. The 4-brain concept was introduced in a book by Dr. Robert K. Cooper, Get Out of Your Own Way, published in 2006. In it, Dr. Cooper introduced a fascinating insight. We don't have just one brain, we have 4. To live fully, to decide wisely, to lead meaningfully, we need to evolve our idea of intelligence, because thinking is no longer enough. It's time to listen to all 4 brains. This documentary is an invitation to awaken the 4 powerful brains within you. Not just the one in your head, but also the ones in your heart, your gut, and your spine. Because when you begin to harness the full spectrum of your inner intelligence, you start making decisions from a place far deeper than logic, from a place of alignment. This film will reveal why some people, often underestimated, not always top of their class, rise to become extraordinarily successful. They may not have had perfect grades or the highest IQs, but they had something more. They had ingenuity. They had emotional clarity. They had the guts to take bold risks, and the intuition to know when. In fact, research shows that IQ alone is a poor predictor of success. EQ is gaining momentum now, but let's go further. What truly separates high performers isn't just what they know, it's how they decide. They make use of all their intelligences: the head for strategy, the heart for connection, the gut for courage, and the spine for intuition. And that combination, not raw intellect, is often the real key to building lasting impact, resilient teams, and visionary leadership. This isn't just about thinking smarter, it's about thinking fuller.
So, if you've ever felt that traditional intelligence didn't quite define you, stay with us. You may just discover that your truest potential has been waiting in places you've never been taught to look. The thinking brain, as brilliant as it is, comes with its own set of limitations. Shaped by past experiences, conditioned by fears, and bound by habits, it often loops in analysis, hesitation, or doubt. But what if there's more? What if your heart, your gut, and your spinal brain hold doorways to deeper intelligence, kind of knowing that bypasses fear and opens into possibility? Rational thinking can crunch numbers, dissect data, and forecast outcomes. It creates spreadsheets, strategies, and summaries. But wisdom, the kind that leads to breakthrough choices, often comes from somewhere else. From a feeling in your chest, a twist in your stomach, or a tingle along your spine. Have you ever paused and said, "Something tells me"? That something isn't vague, it's your collective intelligence speaking. A collaboration between your head, your heart, your gut, and your core. Today, thanks to advances in neuroimaging and somatic neuroscience, we're beginning to uncover how decisions are really made. Why we sense danger before we see it. Why we feel drawn to someone without a word exchanged. Why some choices feel off, even if they look perfect on paper. Scientists are discovering that neurotransmitters, hormones, and neural activity involved in decision-making and emotion aren't confined to the brain alone. They're distributed throughout the body, in the gut, in the heart, in the spinal cord, each contributing to what we call instinct, intuition, or even a hunch. These aren't mystical notions. They're measurable, mappable, and real. And when we learn to listen, truly listen, to this full-body intelligence, we begin to make choices not just with the mind, but with the whole self. We know a lot about brain you already know, the cerebral brain. It's time to travel deeper, to learn about the other three brains.
Let's begin with the brain in your gut. Hidden behind the soft folds of your abdomen lies a vast and intelligent system, the enteric nervous system, or ENS. It contains over 100 million neurons, more than your spinal cord, earning it the title of your second brain. But this brain doesn't just digest your lunch. It processes emotion. It feels, remembers, and decides, often before your head catches up. In fact, the ENS produces over 30 neurotransmitters, including serotonin, the feel-good chemical, and 95% of your serotonin isn't made in your head. It's made in your gut. So the next time you feel low, anxious, or irritable, don't just look at your thoughts. Look at your digestion. The gut and brain are in constant dialogue, connected by a thick cable of neurons called the vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve in your body. It acts like a high-speed two-way highway, transmitting signals between your belly and your brain within milliseconds. But here's the twist. Some scientists estimate the ENS processes input up to 1 million times faster than the head brain, making it a powerhouse of instinct. Have you ever had a gut feeling before making a big decision? That wasn't imagination. That was your gut brain thinking faster than thought, running simulations in the background like a silent supercomputer. What makes it even more fascinating is its autonomy. The ENS can function independently of your brain, regulating digestion, interpreting bodily signals, and triggering emotional responses like anxiety or calmness. But the gut doesn't act alone. It's home to a bustling metropolis, trillions of microbes, collectively known as the gut microbiome. This microbial community doesn't just help digest food. It produces neurotransmitters like GABA, which relaxes the nervous system. Certain strains, like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, can directly influence neurons in the ENS to promote calmness and clarity. In fact, studies show that gut bacteria shape mood, memory, motivation, and even neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and grow. Your gut isn't just thinking, it's teaching your brain how to think better. Take, for example, a study led by the University of Cambridge. It found that successful financial traders weren't just number savvy. They were better at listening to their gut. Their success correlated with their interoceptive accuracy, their ability to perceive and interpret signals from within the body. The gut influences how we assess risk. It can trigger subtle emotional cues, butterflies, tightness, calmness, that push us to act or hold back. And while science hasn't officially crowned the gut as the seat of courage, one thing is clear: a healthy, balanced gut microbiota can lead to greater emotional stability, sharper instincts, and the confidence to move forward. In a world that often tells us to think harder, your gut reminds you to feel deeper, to trust the intelligence that lives in your center. Because sometimes the smartest decisions are the acts of courage. It's gutsy, and it begins in the belly.
When you're asked to point to yourself, where do your fingers go? Not to your head, but to your heart. And that simple gesture holds a deeper truth: your identity. The heart is far more than a pump. It's an intelligent organ, a powerful brain in its own right, shaping how we think, feel, connect, and even who we become. In fact, in the womb, the heart develops before the brain. Before thoughts are born, the rhythm of life begins, pulsing through the embryo, sending signals that shape the nervous system that comes after. Every heartbeat sends out a wave of energy, rippling through your body faster than the blood itself, triggering a cascade of communication that affects every cell. Science now confirms what mystics long suspected. The heart is not just emotional, it's neurological. Your heart contains its own intrinsic nervous system with over 40,000 neurons. Neurons that sense, learn, remember, and communicate. This is what scientists call the heart brain, and its influence is profound. When your heart rhythms are coherent, smooth, and synchronized, your thinking brain becomes sharper, your emotions more stable, and your ability to relate, lead, and create dramatically enhanced. The heart's influence isn't just internal. It sends out an electromagnetic field that's not only powerful, it's massive. It generates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger in amplitude than the brain's, powerful enough to influence brainwave activity and emotional processing. Measured at up to 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain, the heart's field can be detected 5 to 10 feet away, even more, affecting people around you in ways most are unaware of. Think of it like a Wi-Fi router of emotion and intention, broadcasting your internal state into the room. That's why you can feel someone's presence before they speak. And in terms of speed, the heart brain is lightning fast. By some estimates, it processes what's happening inside and around you up to 2 million times faster than your cranial brain. So when you say, "I feel it in my heart," that's not poetry, that's precision.
In a world obsessed with logic and analytics, the heart reminds us that wisdom is emotional as much as it is rational, that the most powerful decisions aren't made in silence of thought, but in the coherence of head and heart, when we pause, breathe, and listen to the rhythm within. Because maybe, just maybe, the heart doesn't just beat, it knows. In fact, studies reveal that the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. Take the amygdala, for example, the part of the brain that scans for threats, processes fear, and kicks us into survival mode. It receives direct input from the heart. So does the prefrontal cortex, the area that governs focus, planning, and decision-making. In moments of clarity, alignment, or even love, your heart is speaking to your brain, influencing what you notice and how you respond. And sometimes it even overrides the brain's commands. Back in the 1970s, researchers John and Beatrice Lacey made a curious discovery. While studying psychophysiology, they noticed the heart had what they called its own peculiar logic. At times, it would slow down or speed up in ways that contradicted the brain's autonomic instructions, almost as if the heart was saying, "Not now," or "Pay attention here," subtly altering how a person reacted to the world around them. What they found was astonishing. The brain didn't resist. It listened. In essence, the heart wasn't just a passive responder. It was a co-pilot, shaping perception, attention, and even instinct. This intelligence of the heart isn't measured by logic alone, but by its ability to align us with what truly matters: our values, our emotions, our integrity. So when a decision feels right, even if it defies rational analysis, that's not weakness. That's coherence.
Have you ever faced a decision that looked perfect on paper, yet something in your chest felt uneasy, or said, "I just have to follow my heart," even when logic pointed the other way? That's not poetic whimsy. That's the heart-brain axis in action. New scientific studies point out that the heart's rhythm, its beat, is deeply connected to how we process the world, especially in situations involving empathy, compassion, and trust. When your heart is calm, beating in a smooth, coherent rhythm, your brain enters a more receptive, creative state. This is often when wise, centered decisions emerge. But when the heart races, under stress, fear, or anxiety, your decisions can become reactive, emotionally charged, even impulsive. For example, imagine making a big financial decision during an argument. Your heart is pounding, your stress hormones are elevated, your brain narrows its focus. In that moment, you're less likely to think long-term, and more likely to protect, defend, or escape. On the other hand, in a relaxed state, a lower, steady heart rate, the wardigo, your mind opens. Your body feels safe. You become capable of considering nuance, risk, empathy, and consequence.
So, what does it really mean to listen to your heart? It means tuning in to more than logic. It means asking, how does this decision feel in my body? Is there inner alignment between my values and my actions? Am I reacting or responding? But like any form of intelligence, the heart must be balanced. Making decisions based only on emotion, purely from the heart, can lead to trouble too. For instance, saying yes to someone out of guilt rather than true alignment, or ignoring red flags in a relationship because of love, are examples of the downside of emotional-only decisions. The goal isn't to choose between head or heart, but to bring them into coherence. That's when real wisdom emerges, when rational insight is harmonized with emotional truth. The HeartMath Institute calls this state heart-brain coherence. It's measurable, trainable, transformative, and perhaps it's the key to better decisions, deeper connections, and a life that feels not just successful, but whole. Because in the end, your heart may not have a voice, but it certainly has something to say.
There is a silent force running through your spine, not just a highway of nerve signals, but a decision-making center with a deep connection to your gut, heart, and head. You may know it by another name, a hunch. That strange, sometimes undeniable sense that something's about to happen, or that a choice needs to be made now. Consider this. Legendary investor George Soros was known to make drastic market decisions not after reading charts, but after feeling a discomfort in his back. His son Robert once revealed, "My father changes positions when his back starts hurting. It has nothing to do with reason. It's the hunch." But what is this hunch? Is it just superstition? Or is it spinal intelligence at work, reading signals, integrating sensory inputs from across the body, and triggering a physical cue before the mind catches up? Neuroscience is now catching up with what mystics and martial artists have long believed. The spine holds embodied awareness. It's a vertical core of sensing, posture, instinct, and presence, an interface between emotion and action. Just observe someone walking into a room with upright posture, shoulders relaxed, head aligned. They exude clarity, confidence, and focus. That's not just good biomechanics. That's neurophysiological feedback. The way you carry your spine affects how you feel, how you think, and how you decide. When your spine is in alignment, your nervous system is more regulated, your breath flows more freely, and your brain receives clearer signals from your body. In fact, research in somatic psychology shows that posture and spinal alignment can directly impact mood, memory, and decision-making clarity. It's no wonder that ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "Those who master their posture have intelligence." And look at Helen Keller. Despite being blind and deaf, her posture was fluid, tall, composed. Her physical presence spoke of internal mastery, of alignment beyond sight or sound. So what does it mean to walk tall? It means more than confidence. It reflects a state of internal coherence. Your spine isn't just holding you up, it's guiding you forward. In moments when you just know without knowing why, when your body tightens, or relaxes, or urges you to pause, that's the spinal brain tuning into your environment. It's not fantasy, it's embodied intelligence. So the next time your body straightens before your mind decides, or you feel a subtle pull in your back before you speak or act, pay attention. Your spinal brain may be whispering what your head hasn't yet heard. Every day you make decisions, some small, some life-changing. But what if the way you've been making decisions isn't using your full intelligence? You see, we are not just a brain and a head. We are a body of brains. 4 distinct centers of wisdom: the thinking head, the feeling heart, the instinctive gut, and the intuitive spine. And when these 4 align, when they cohere, we gain access to something extraordinary: clarity without conflict, confidence without arrogance, insight that moves faster than fear. So the next time you're stuck in indecision, try this. Place your hands gently on each center, your head, your chest, your belly, your spine, and ask, what do my instincts say? What does my gut know that my mind hasn't processed yet? What is my heart asking for, emotionally or ethically? What does my spine tell me through my posture and presence? These aren't mystical questions. They're internal diagnostics, because often when you feel torn or stuck, it's a sign your inner intelligence is not in agreement. Perhaps your head is saying yes. The numbers look good, but your gut is tight, your heart feels uneasy, or your spine urges you to wait. That's not fear. That's misalignment. Confusion is not a flaw. It's a signal. Think back on your past decisions. Were there moments when something felt off, but you overrode it? Did you pass up an opportunity because you lacked the courage, not the logic, to act? Did you dismiss an intuitive nudge that, in hindsight, was spot on? This isn't about guilt. It's about pattern recognition, understanding how you decide and which part of you've been listening to or ignoring. Sometimes what looks good doesn't feel right. Sometimes your second thoughts are not doubt. They're data from a deeper layer. Your intuition, that fast, embodied wisdom, often reads things your mind can't yet explain. It picks up on micro-expressions, energy shifts, vibes, unspoken intentions. But beware. The thinking brain, with all its biases, can mimic intuition. It can create false alarms based on fear or past trauma. Studies show that when we try to guess another person's intentions, we're wrong more than 90% of the time. So pause. Don't jump to conclusions. Instead, ask the most powerful question in human connection. Tell me more. It slows down judgment. It opens the field for truth. It gives your whole body, all four brains, a chance to listen. And when you do, something magical happens. Your gut gathers courage, your heart confirms alignment, your spine stands tall with conviction, and your head brings clarity to it all. That's exactly what Steve Jobs meant when he said, "Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition." Let's break that down. Courage, that's your gut, the seat of bold action. Follow your heart. That's your center of meaning, values, and connection. And intuition, that's your spinal brain, the place where knowing arises before explanation. Jobs wasn't just offering poetic advice. He was pointing to a neurosomatic truth that the best choices come from the full intelligence of your entire being. So the next time life asks you to choose, don't just think, feel, sense, stand, know, and let all four brains lead you to your most aligned path forward.